We are finally back. The NFL season is here. Tonight is the first night, Kansas City versus Baltimore, and it is going to be a great year for the channel, so check it out. Like I've been doing the past couple years, we're going to go through every game, play the Packer game in a separate video, and we're going to give you the winner, going to tell you what's going to happen, and it's just going to be a whole lot of fun. I've been waiting for this for a very long time. It's going to be a big year for the channel. So let me know what you think down below. Some programming notes, or basically how my schedule is going to go this year. Every week I'm going to try and put out the weekly predictions of everybody but the Packers on the Wednesday. And then I'll probably do the Packer game on the Thursday or Friday, just depending on when they play. And I'm going to do, for the first time this year, a weekly live stream of and reviewing every game of the week. Now, I tried to do this a couple years ago, but it didn't really live up to my standards. I didn't think I did that great of a job. So we're going to try and do it better this time, now that I know how to, show clips and everything. So hopefully NFL doesn't take things down, because the NFL, as we all know, is the no fun league. But we'll go through every game. Let me know what you think. And let's have a great time doing it. First off, first game of the week, Kansas City versus Baltimore. A very exciting game, a rematch of the AFC Championship game last year, where, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs won and would, of course, go on to win the Super Bowl. Now, Baltimore saw some major changes in the defense, lost a couple of key pieces, but I think they should be able to recover somewhat. Lots of pieces on the offensive line, but still, as much as I ride Lamar Jackson for not being the greatest quarterback in the world, he's still a great player. He's still electric. He can still get out of the pocket and scramble like the best of them, and he can still make plays. Now, that doesn't really transfer to the playoffs, but, he's still out there. He's still making good plays, even though he seems to get sick all the time. And we have Derrick Henry being the number one running back. That should be really good. Zay Flowers looking to have a really big year. Mark Anderson looking to bounce back after being injured most of the year last year. And a couple other guys thrown in there. They should be a good, exciting team to watch. Hopefully Keaton Mitchell can come back to what he was last year, because he was a real game changer for them as well. Though he is lower on the depth chart, so he'll probably have to work his way back up. But defensively, still have a couple of great corners, still have one of the best inside linebackers in the game in Roquan Smith, and just a great overall team that should have a good chance to beat the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs, we all know them: Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, and some new wide receivers: Marquise Hollywood Brown, although he probably won't play in this one; Rashee Rice, coming freshly off a hit-and-run investigation, which still was coming. He just probably won't be suspended until next year. And they have a great offensive line, good running backs, good receivers all around, the best quarterback in the league, and then they still have great players in defense. Yes, they lost L'Jarius Sneed, but let's be honest. When you win a championship, the tax comes due. And L'Jarius Sneed was just one of those casualties that you lose. Unfortunately, you lose him, but I think in the long run they'll be fine, because Jerry Sneed is a good player, but is he worth the amount of money that Tennessee gave him? No, probably not. Tennessee, since they're so poor in asset, or not assets, poor in players, they pay for guys like Jerry Sneed up the ass in order to get their services. But when it all gets said and done, I think that Baltimore has a really good shot to win. And to be honest, I think I'm going to pick the Baltimore Ravens to win. It's going to be like last year. Chiefs coming into Kansas City, playing Detroit played spoiler. They played the better game. Didn't look like Kansas City was up to snuff at the beginning of the year last year. So I'm going to pick Baltimore. As we all know, Baltimore is a great regular season team, just not so much a great postseason team. So I'm going to pick the Baltimore Ravens to upset the Chiefs week 1. Although, let's be honest, it's not much of an upset. It's just two very well competitive teams that match up really well against one another. So, next we have Atlanta versus Pittsburgh, the Arthur Smith revenge game. Arthur Smith now the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers, going against his former team that he could just never get enough out of everybody. Now we all know Bijan Robinson on the Falcons is probably set for a really good year. Kirk Cousins, while still, we will have to see how good he is coming off the torn Achilles, should be fine. Again, Drake London, a decent wide receiver. I don't think he's the greatest thing that people think he is. Kyle Pitts, this is a put up or shut up year. He has to perform. They have a great offensive line, of course. A couple other receivers thrown in there as well. And the defense, seeking major upgrades all over. Matthew Judon, maybe, just maybe, is the pass rusher that they've been looking for. We'll see what he has left to offer. I think he does have plenty to offer still. So have a decent secondary, good linebackers all around. In Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson, starting quarterback. I don't know how good Pittsburgh's offense will be this year. I do like Jaylen Warren to potentially pass up Najee Harris by the end of the year, even though Najee Harris has had over 1,000 rushing yards in each game he's been in his career. I just see Jaylen Warren being the more flashy guy. I just think there's a real possibility they get past. Of course, the defense, TJ Watt is great, and as long as TJ Watt is on the team, that defense is going to keep being able to get to the pass rusher or get to the quarterback. Highsmith, great rusher as well. Cam Hayward, just still old reliable. He's been around forever, but he just knows how to get to the quarterback still to this day. Mika Fitzpatrick still as well. Their offensive line should be a little better, but let's see how much they've actually fixed it. And of course, George Pickens, great wide receiver, big head case. And then after that, for wide receiver, it's kind of nothing there. Let's be honest. But I think Atlanta sets the tone for the year and wins. Not big. Probably, I didn't give a score for the Kansas City Chiefs and Ravens game. I think that'll come down 27-24 for the Ravens. Atlanta wins. Let's see. I think Atlanta wins 20 or 30-17. Sounds like a good score. Yeah, I think Atlanta wins by a decent margin, or sets the tone for a potential good year. Although, let's be honest, it's still the Falcons. But Atlanta Falcons win. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's all she wrote. Next game. Buffalo versus Arizona. We all know who the Buffalo has. The second best quarterback in the league. We can Josh Allen. A good running back in James Cook. A decent offensive line. Keon Coleman looks to be a really good wide receiver this year. We'll see if Curtis Samuel is able to play. Dalton Kincaid, great at tight end. I know their defense is not what it was, and it sucks Matt Milano's loss, but Von Miller, maybe he can return to form. And their secondary is a little better, but that's how it is for the Bills every year. They lost so many guys, but I think they should be able to recover just fine. I still like the Bills to win their division. Then we have the Arizona Cardinals. We have Kyler Murray looking to have a big year. He should have a big year, hopefully. Marvin Harrison Jr. still don't think he signed his licensing deal with the Arizona Cardinals. If I'm wrong on that, you can let me know in the comments down below. But Marvin Harrison should be a really good weapon for Kyler Murray. Their offensive line is fine, I guess. Still have old reliable James Conner and a exciting rookie in Trey Benson. I don't know much about their defense. Their defense is still probably going to be pretty weak, although Jonathan Gannon is building something there. It'll just take a little time to get there. Now, in the end, I think Buffalo definitely wins this game. It is in Buffalo, so I think they have the edge there. Still, the second best quarterback in the league, Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen wins MVP this year. I really do. I think he is going to straight up finally win the MVP. Maybe, just maybe, lead his team to a Super Bowl appearance, but we'll wait and see. But in the end, I think Buffalo wins 35-24, something like that. I think Arizona should be able to get behind the secondary a couple times. I think Marvin Harrison goes for maybe 1-2 touchdowns in this game. I think it's very feasible that he gets a couple good games. I mean, if you're having a fantasy league team, definitely want Marvin Harrison Jr. in your lineup for this one for sure. But yeah, in the end, Buffalo, I think it just has a little too much. But I think Arizona could be a lot better than people think this year. I do think they could end up around 5-6 wins at most, so you're just not going to get it done this week. Buffalo wins. Next, Chicago versus Tennessee. Now, I'm probably going to pick Chicago to win this game just because I don't know how everything is going to work in Tennessee, but I think Tennessee has a decent chance to win. Now, they don't have DeAndre Hopkins, but they still have Treylon Burks. They still have newly acquired Calvin Ridley. They still have Tony Pollard, who should be fine, along with Tyjae Spears, who I think, honestly, Tyjae Spears will pass up Pollard in the depth chart by the end of the year. Still have some good pieces on defense for sure. They just weren't a very good team last year. They really weren't. Will Levis, the mailman himself, this is a prove-it year for him. If he wants to prove that he can be a starter for the Titans for a long time, he's going to need to do good this year, because I can see a scenario where if he doesn't do well, they end up just tanking the rest of the year in order to get one of those really good quarterbacks coming into the draft next year. So it's on Will Levis this year to have a good year. And now the Bears. Everybody's hyping them up all offseason. Oh my God, they're going to have like 10, 11, 12 wins. It's like, slow down there. Let's slow your roll. I don't think that's going to happen. I think at most it went 8, 9 wins. Now that is still a decent season for sure, especially with as much talent that they have on the roster. Yes, that would be kind of a disappointing, but for me, I think it would be right where they should be. They shouldn't be just exploding for 12 wins and then next year just falling off. I just don't think it's healthy to do that. You know how Bears fans are. They get so excited every year they get a new quarterback. Oh, this is the year. This is the year we have finally found our quarterback that's going to lead us to glory. And it's like, Caleb Williams, he has talent. He for sure does have talent. He just kind of holds the ball too long and doesn't always kind of looks to run at times. But Caleb Williams, old man Keenan Allen, who is getting older, and I think this year might be the year the tires fall off. Rome Odunze, top 10 pick. DJ Moore, one of the best wide receivers in the league. Good Corey at running back. DeAndre Swift looking to have a big year. Offensive line should be improved, although I think still by the end of the year they'll probably be middle of the road. Still have great pieces on defense. Montez Sweat had a great year after coming over from Washington. We'll see if he can continue that. Jalen Johnson at corner, one of the best paid cornerbacks in the league. They have guys all over the place, but let's slow your roll. I don't think the Bears are going to win by a lot. I think the Titans do have a feasible shot to win, but I think the Bears win 27-24. I think that's a reasonable score, but if the Bears lose, I would not be surprised either. I just think Bears have a little bit more. I think Titans do have a chance. It's just not going to be enough. They're going to come up a little bit short, but Bears win, and the Titans start the season 0-1. Next, Cincy versus New England. Now, if you are going to pick a defense this week and start them in your fantasy football league, Cincy would probably be the one. Now, I don't think Cincy's defense is all that great, but playing against a quarterback in Jacoby Brissett, when really they should just start a Drake May. I mean, Drake May is obviously better than Jacoby Brissett. It's just like every team now thinks that, the Packers got the model. You just got to sit your best guy for a while. But it's like, why would you do that when clearly Drake May is the better option? I'm sorry. Ramondre Stevenson, good running back for the Patriots, hasn't been able to replicate what he did a couple of years ago. So we'll see what happens. Offensive line is kind of in shambles. Still have some good key pieces on defense, but traded away Matthew Judon. that is definitely going to hurt them. In Cincinnati, Joe Burrow coming back from season-ending injury last year, looking to have a big bounce-back year. Jamar Chase should play. T. Higgins should play. New stable of running backs and Zach Moss and Chase Brown, although I think by the end of the season, Chase Brown will be the starting running back. I think he's just a little bit better. I think what Zach Moss did in Indy was great last year, but overall I don't think he's going to be able to sustain it. I think in the end, since he just has way too much firepower against the Patriots in this one, and I think they win around 28-13. I'll give New England a chance to score some points, but like seriously, if you're gonna pick a good defense to play against a bad team, Cincy would be the one this week. But Cincy wins going away, I think, and yeah, move on to the next one. Houston versus Indy, one of the surprising games of the year, one of the games that people have been looking forward to. The Strouds going up against Anthony Richardson and the Colts. Now, Anthony Richardson has a lot to prove. While he did have some moments last year, his style of play just doesn't have a long shelf life in the NFL. It really doesn't. He has all the physical tools, but let's be honest. You gotta have more than just tools to actually effectively play well in the NFL. Now the Colts still have Jonathan Taylor. He's looking to have a really big year. Offensive-wise is improving to more so what it was a couple years ago. Key pieces on defense, of course. I know some guys, but Watu looking to have a great year, win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Michael Pittman coming off nicely signed, and they still have a couple others in there. I can't remember the names. I'm sorry. I'm really bad with names sometimes. I gotta be honest, but. Now we go to Houston. CJ Stroud looking to have a huge year with newly acquired weapons. You have Nico Collins and Tank Dell still there, and Stephon Diggs. Although, let's be honest, I think Stephon Diggs could blow up the Houston Texans. I'm going to just say that. I think it's really possible. Now we have Joe Mixon at running back, and then some new pieces on defense to go along with Will Anderson and others. Danielle Hunter will be great for the center of that defense. He's a great defensive tackle. He's been solid every year of his career. Every year he was in Minnesota, he was putting up close to 10 sacks. He was a great player, and they got him for a really good deal. He's the kind of player that could really get things going in Houston. I think in the end, Houston wins 27-24, but I think it'll be a really close contest, and in the end, Houston wins. And now we have Miami versus Jacksonville, a really good matchup for sure. Jacksonville's defense looks great. Josh Allen, the guy they got from San Francisco, Armstead, is going to be good. I think that Eric Armstead is one of those guys, when you look at it, is really going to impact San Francisco's defense this year, not having him. We also have good pieces on offense. Trevor Lawrence needs to shine this year big time. He needs to show that he deserves the money and that he is ready to compete, or who knows if he'll ever do it. Him being a quarterback in the league gives him many more opportunities to succeed compared to any other position, but this is the year for him to succeed. He needs to shine. He has good pieces. Christian Kirk on wide receiver, a couple others as well. Sorry, Evan Engram's still a tight end. Well, not the greatest tight end in the world. He's still pretty solid for the most part. Decent offensive line. Travis Etienne seems to have a really good connection as a receiving back with Trevor Lawrence. They look to be a really good team, but it all comes down to execution. They have the players, but can they finally do it? Can they finally show that, the Jacksonville Jaguars can be a threat? Every time they seem to be a threat, they have 1 year, and then, like last year, they totally collapse. Then we have Miami. Still have great threats all around. Still have Jalen Waddle. Still have Tyreek Hill. Still have Raheem Mostert. Still have Devon Achane. And they still have Tua Tagovailoa, who is probably not the best quarterback in the league, but when you have a good quarterback, you need to pay him, even if he's undeserving of it. Decent offensive line, but missing pieces on defense for sure. Bradley Chubb still not back. Jalen Phillips, we'll see how long it takes for him to come back as well. Still got pieces around, but they lost pieces as well. So lost their best cornerback from the past couple years. Or piece of linebacker, lost Christian Wilkins, which is going to be hurting. So honestly, I think in the end, Miami probably still finishes second in their division, but I think they could feasibly miss out on the playoffs. I really do. But this week, going up against Jacksonville, I think Miami wins. I think their offense is just going to be a little too much. Now, if Jacksonville can pressure Tua and get to him, and maybe knock him around, then maybe Jacksonville has a chance. But they have to be able to get to Tua. Tua's slimmer, and which means like if you hit him hard enough, who knows what'll happen. But I don't advocate injury at all. But it's the kind of thing that happens. You need to be bulky. You need to be able to take the hits in the league. Losing weight and getting more spell may work in other professions. I just don't think it'll work out for the best for Tua. But I still think he'll have a good season. And in the end, Miami wins 21-17. I think it's going to be a little lower scoring game. I think Jacksonville will be able to keep Miami under wraps a little bit at least. But we'll see. I think in the end, it won't be enough still. Miami wins. Next, we have New Orleans versus Carolina. Now, Carolina, booster seat Bryce. I know I'm taking that from Barry McCockner, but it's just a great line. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. Don't have a lot of anything. Offensive line, not great. Defense, have some pieces, but they lost Brian Burns, so that's definitely going to be a loss. Jonathan Brooks, probably not going to be ready to play for the first couple weeks, but he's a Bijan kind of clone. If he gets really good, he can be a force for years to come. Still have Adam Thielen. Still have, they got Deontay Johnson, who should be, he's still like a second, third wide receiver, so he'll probably be number 2 out there. Actually, probably will be number 1. The guy they got from South Carolina, Xavier Legette. We'll see how he does this year. But yeah, not much to say. Booster seat Bryce, probably not going to have a great year again. Not saying he's the worst in the league, but I mean, he was so bad last year. It's really hard to see anything really good coming about. New Orleans still the team of mid. Derek Carr, been in the league forever, but only has 2 playoff appearances. Alvin Kamara, it's a great running back, but he seemingly every year isn't able to get over 1,000 yards, which I thought was surprising. Chris Olave looking to have a big year. He had a decent year last year, but he was kind of a head case, so hopefully that doesn't continue to follow. Shaheed should have a decent year as well. Taysom Hill at tight end. Now, if you play fantasy, he is eligible to be a tight end, so if you want Taysom Hill and get those extra quarterback points potentially, now's the time to get him. Their defense still has pieces all over the place, but their team's just a bunch of mid for the most part. Still have some great pieces here and there, but I still think that's going to be enough. Ryan Ramczyk not going to play this year, which is unfortunate. He's one of the really great offensive linemen in the league, has been ever since he came to the league, but it's just injuries have caught up with him. But in the end, I think New Orleans wins 24-17. Carolina might have a chance to upset just because the Saints are so mid, and I really wish they would just, up and blow things up and start over and start selling off pieces so you can build a better future. But who does that? Let's just keep going into debt every year. Let's just keep doing that. But yeah, New Orleans wins, and Carolina starts out the season 0-1 once again. Next, we have Minnesota versus the Giants. Now, Minnesota, Sam Darnold at quarterback, Justin Jefferson, no Jordan Addison. So Justin Jefferson should have a pretty big day. Aaron Jones at running back. We all know what Aaron Jones is. He has a couple of great games every year, but then he gets injured for most of the year. Their defense should be fine, but losing Danielle Hunter's no joke. Nobody's been talking about how big of a loss Danielle Hunter will be. You can't replace that kind of production coming off the draft. Now, Dallas Turner, they got him from Alabama. He should be good. He could be a runner-up or maybe even win the offensive or defensive rookie of the year for sure. But other than that, they still have Harrison Smith, still one of the better safeties in the league. I don't know much about beyond that, but Justin Jefferson should be plenty for them to beat the Giants, because the Giants just don't have much. They do have Brian Burns on defense now. They still have Dexter Lawrence II, so that'll be good. They still have pieces all over the place, but losing Xavier McKinney will definitely hurt. Their defense was pretty bad, although Xavier McKinney never gave up. I don't think he even gave up a touchdown, even one touchdown in his 4 years since he joined the Giants from Alabama. Daniel Jones is a disaster. He's gonna need to have a good year, otherwise he'll just find himself, might find himself out of the league. To be honest, I mean, he's just not great. Devin Singletary at running back. Malik Neighbors probably gonna have a decent year, but it's gonna take a couple years for him to really get going, so that he has substantially good quarterback play. Offensive line is kind of a mess, but it's just not gonna be enough for the Giants. Minnesota wins in this one, going away, I think 27-10. Yeah, I think the Giants aren't gonna have a good day, but the Minnesota Vikings have surprised me before by losing to teams they shouldn't lose to. So let me know what you think, and let's go on to the next game. The Chargers versus the Raiders. I think the Raiders have a good chance to be really good this year. Their defense is coming together. Christian Wilkins should be great on the defensive line, pairing with Max Crosby and a couple other guys as well. Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech, I think that's his name. Sorry, I forgot his name. His name is Tyree for sure. He looks to have a big year. He didn't have the greatest year coming off as a rookie last year, but he should be good. Their defense should be really fucking good. Now their offense, on the other hand, we know what Gardner Minshew can be. He can be a serviceable to above average quarterback in the league. And with Devontae Adams at lead wide receiver, should be great. Zamir White, I think, is a really sneaky pick for being a really good running back this year. He had a really great game against Kansas City and probably helped win some people some games going down the stretch in fantasy football. Michael Mayer at tight end, pairing with Brock Bowers. Now, Michael Mayer would probably be more of the blocking tight end, but Brock Bowers, yes, he's questionable, so hopefully he's able to go. But he can be a real sneaky player this year for sure, coming off as a rookie out of Georgia. But I think the Raiders win this game. Now the Chargers still have a new team, basically. I mean, not totally new, but just not a lot at wide receiver. Lad McConkey's the newest piece. J.K. Dobbins and Gus the Bus will probably switch back and forth. At running back, Jim Harbaugh coming in, gonna probably install a bruising defensive-based team. Great offensive lineman, Joel Alt on opposite ends with Rashawn Slater. Defensive, they still have Derwin James. They still have a couple other pieces out there. Still have Joey Bosa. I believe Khalil Mack is still there as well. So that should be fine. But I think the Raiders win this game. I do. I think the Raiders' potential defensive prowess could be a handful for Justin Herbert in this game. And I think they'll be able to get to Justin Herbert. And it might be a bit of a struggle. I think the Raiders win 24-17. I think that's a reasonable score, but should be closer. But Raiders kind of pull away at the end enough to win. And we're on to our next game. Seattle versus Denver. Denver looking to be one of the worst teams of the year. Bo Nix looks great, but I think people are really hyping him up a little too much. Not saying he's going to be bad. But they have no pieces. They have Cortland Sutton, wide receivers, so that's good, but not much beyond that. They have Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin at running back. So that's a decent tandem. Mike McGlinchey really anchors that offensive line. Oh, their offensive line is all not that great. Greg Dortch as well. Not Greg Dortch. Somebody else. We also have the Seattle Seahawks, whose defense looks to have rebounded in a big way. Tariq Woolen, Byron Murphy out of Oklahoma State, looking to be a runner-up or maybe win that Defensive Rookie of the Year. They have great offensive pieces. Now, Geno Smith, I think, is a very mediocre quarterback. And yes, he's had some good years the past couple of years, but overall, I just think he's not going to be that quarterback to take him over the top. Still have Tyler Lockett. Still have DK Metcalf. Still have JSN. Still have Zach Charbonnet and Kenny Walker at running back. Offensive line should be improved. Their defense, Tariq Woolen, needs to return to his form of his rookie year. Witherspoon should have a great year as well. They have pieces all over the place, and I think those pieces enough will be plenty to beat Denver, and they should win. Let's say they're 27-10. I think Denver should be able to score a little bit, but not all that much in the end. Seattle wins in a decent blowout. Next, we have Cleveland versus Dallas. Cleveland, I think, wins this game. It's in Cleveland. Their defense looks great. Their offense, we'll see what Deshaun Watson has this year. Still have Amari Cooper at wide receiver. Still have Jerome Ford at running back. Still have one of the better offensive lines in the league. And that great defense. Great defense. Myles Garrett is one of the best, if not the best pass rusher in the league. He is fantastic. Still have a couple of great cornerbacks as well. The linebackers are great as well. Should be able to rush and cover Dallas all day long. Now, for the Cowboys, I think CeeDee Lamb will have a decent game. Offensive line, probably not as good as it has been in the past. Ezekiel Elliott as your lead running back. Ouch, that's kind of scary. Brandon Cooks is a decent second option at wide receiver, but CeeDee Lamb is going to have a good day. He's definitely going to go over 100 yards. I would still think he'll still go over 100 yards, but I think Cleveland should be able to get in the backfield, should be able to pressure Dak, should be able to get him thrown into some uncomfortable situations and interceptions, and as a result, I think Cleveland wins this game. I think it's going to be a close game for sure. Cleveland wins 24-21, but when it's all said and done, I think Dallas does have a good chance to win. If they can protect Dak and they can keep him from throwing and making mistakes, they have a good chance to win. But if he's making mistakes against that high power pressured offense or defense, I don't think they're going to have enough. I think Cleveland, their defense is just that strong and that they should be able to get to Dak and force him into some really bad potential turnovers. So Cleveland wins, but it'll be a close game. Next, Tampa Bay versus Washington. Jaden Daniels, rookie, looking to be a potential, player for offensive rookie of the year. Still have Scary Terry. Still have Brian Robinson Jr., running back. Good option. Offensive line, all not that great, but should be able to provide cover for Brian Robinson and get Jaden Daniels time to work in the pocket. Defense, still have a great defensive line. One of the best. Secondary, not so much. Not so good. But I think their defensive line should be able to get into the backfield and pressure Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's offensive line should be, they have to replace, what's his name? Jenkins. Yeah, Jenkins, I believe, on the offensive line. But they still have Baker Mayfield, who I've said before has had an up and down career. He's had one really good year, down, then good, down, then up again. That's just been the way Baker Mayfield has been during his time in the league. Still have one of the greatest wide receivers of the last decade in Mike Evans. And Mike Evans, bona fide Hall of Famer right now. Chris Godwin, if he keeps playing like he has been, he's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure. Rachaad White is a really good, underrated running back who has great pass-catching abilities and can run through the hole and make a lot of yards. Offensive line should be fine. Defense still have pieces all over, although loss of Carlton Davis will be a loss. Devin White, not a big loss. Let's be honest, Devin White what had a good first couple years with Tampa Bay, but then really fell off. I mean, it just goes to show how Tampa Bay really didn't try all that much to bring Devin White back. I mean, now he's with Philadelphia, but it doesn't seem like he's in their plans this year, which is really disappointing because he was seen as one of the better incoming draft picks a couple years ago, helping Tampa Bay win that Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden he's a name. He's a name now of somebody that used to be good. But I think it'll be a really close game, to be honest. I think if Jaden Daniels is able to get protection and get time in the pocket and maybe make some off the run kind of plays, I think Washington can win. But Tampa Bay has more than enough to win. I think Tampa Bay wins 23-20, something weird like that. It should be relatively close, but Tampa Bay wins. Next, we have our second to last game of the week. Detroit versus the Rams. Now it's going to be a rematch of the wildcard game from last year that ended so close. The Rams still have good old reliable Matthew Stafford. Still have Cooper Kupp. Still have Puka Nacua, who's looking to have a really big year. Their offensive line should be fine. Should be able to handle it. Kieran Williams should have a really good and continuing career from last year. Defense, not all that great. Losing Aaron Donald, understandably, cannot replace him. He's an Hall of Fame talent, one of the best defensive tackles of all time. You cannot just replace that. And I think in the end, if the Rams aren't going to make the playoffs, it's going to be because of their defense. Now, they did get some pair of pass rushers from Florida State that should help them a lot. I'm sorry, I can't remember their name. Fisk was one of them. But their offense looks to be high-powered. It's just their Achilles heel is going to be that defense. The Detroit Lions looks to have filled all holes everywhere. Secondary, they filled that from a guy from Alabama. They filled that with DJ Reader on the defensive line. Pairing him with Aiden Hutchinson should be great for their pass rush. Still have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Penei Sewell, newly paid. He looks to have a big year. Now offensively, Jared Goff, I don't think he's going to be able to bring this Lions team ever to the promised land. I think last year was their peak. I think they take a just tiny step back this year, just a tiny bit, just a little bit. Don't hate on me, Lions fans. They're just being honest. Yes, I'm trying to not be a homer here. I really do think the Lions take a tiny step back. I think the Packers are just that much better. But they still have Jameson Williams. They still have one of the best wide receivers in the league, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Still have two great running backs, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Their offense is going to be high-powered. I think Detroit wins this game in a decent amount, 27-21. Should be close for most of the game, but like I said, the Rams defense is going to hold them back from really being a special team this year. And in the end, Detroit wins 27-21. And now we're on to our last game of the week. In San Francisco versus the Jets. Now, the 49ers, they lost some pieces on defense. Eric Armstead is probably going to be hard to replace. Dre Greenlaw, who knows when he'll return, coming off that torn Achilles in the Super Bowl, that freak injury. And he's such a big player, he's going to be hard to replace. But they still have Fred Warner, who is the leader of that defense. Offensively speaking, Christian McCaffrey, best running back in the league, should have a big year. And now that Trent Williams is there, it's a big help. Like, I cannot understate it. If Trent Williams was not signed and went somewhere else, the 49ers would have had a really tough time. I mean, Trent Williams is just a solid ball of iron. He cannot be moved. He's a great run blocker. He's a great pass rusher or pass blocker as well. I know people say he's a head case, but his gripe in Washington was proper. I mean, they found a cancerous growth on his head, and the Redskins or staff said, no, it's no problem. It's like, Jesus Christ, the guy could have died. He had every right to complain about that. Still have Brandon Ayuk. Still have Deebo Samuel. Still have other great players on the offense. Now the Jets, Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully he doesn't tear his other Achilles this year. So Garrett Wilson, one of the more underrated running or receivers in the league. Still have still at Breece Hall, one of the best running backs in the league, looking to have a huge year. Offensive line should be improved. Got a rookie on the line from Penn State, Ole Fashanu, but he should be good. May take a little while to really get up the stuff. Elijah Vera Tucker has had injuries on the offensive line. Mekhi Becton is now gone, so he was kind of a bust. You can never get thin enough to play. He was always overweight, and the injuries always kept up to him. Defense looked great on paper, although Hassan Reddick is still AWOL, and I don't blame him, because why the hell would you trade for somebody like Hassan Reddick and not be prepared to pay for him? I don't understand. But I'm gonna surprise here. I think the Jets win. Don't ask me why. I just think Aaron Rodgers, as long as he doesn't get hurt, should have enough magic. And with the pieces that are not there on the San Francisco defense, I think he has a good chance to win. It's going to be close. 24-21. It's going to be a close game, but I think the Jets pull off the surprise of the week, and the 49ers start off the season 0-1. Don't get mad at me. It's just how I see it. I think the Jets do pull off the upset, but those are the picks of the week. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Be prepared to see lots of football content all year. Shorts, the full breakdowns every week, and the weekly live stream. It's going to be a great year. NFL football is back. We are back, and I'm so excited for the rest of the season. I can't wait till we get to the playoffs, but let's enjoy the 17 games that we have up until that point before we get 18 games in a couple years. But it's going to be a great year. Let me know what you think. Have a great day, and as always, God bless and go Pack, go.